breaking right now, has James Corden finally distanced himself from Prince Harry? That is the sensational claim made by the Daily Mail this week.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving into something shocking. Prince Harry's growing list of former friends. From James Corden to the Beckhams, Harry is losing close friends. Is Meghan Markle at the center of it all? Stay tuned because the truth is messier than we thought.
Who say the pair, once thick as thieves, are no longer close. What was also interesting about this story is that they revealed that Prince Harry and James Corden only became friends after David Beckham had to step in to play peacemaker, following Harry making a disgusting jibe about the Gavin and Stacey actor and former talk show host on CBS. Now, I'm going to take you through the details of this story because it is quite shocking and I think shows the arrogance of Harry in a lot of ways. Of course, it was resolved to the point that James Corden actually acted as the master of ceremonies at Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding. I used to be pretty close to James Corden, so I'm just going to be very honest about that, put that out there. And he actually decided to cut contact with me following Megxit. After I broke the story of Megxit and Harry and Meghan moved to California. At that moment, he decided that he could no longer speak to me. Before that, and I don't feel I'm breaking any confidences here, he told me that he had actually had conversations with Prince Harry, encouraging him not to have such a combative relationship with me. So let me just put that out there to begin with. But first, we're going to speak to P. Dina on this in just a moment, though, actually. But first, let me take you through the story from the Daily Mail. So they say that this took place in 2011. This clash took place in 2011 at the exclusive members venue, the Arts Club in London's Mayfair. At the time, Corden was in the West End show One Man, Two Governors, and he wasn't able to meet his A-list friends for what was described as a pre-Christmas boys piss-up until after the show. So by the time he arrived...
The falling out with James Corden. First up, let's talk about James Corden. Remember when he was one of Prince Harry's biggest supporters? He even hosted the couple's wedding reception. But now, silence. Reports say their fallout started after Harry made a joke about Corden years ago. Sources claim James grew frustrated with Harry's negativity and distanced himself. Corden recently shared a cryptic Instagram post about feeling lost.
And found out that Prince Harry was there. The Mail says that Harry made a blokey joke about the actor's appearance that left Corden absolutely raging. The source told the newspaper James had arrived straight from the theatre and was obviously stone cold sober. He walked in to find a group of drunken men. You can only imagine what he must have thought. It is pretty tedious when you turn up somewhere having not had a drink, but James had been grafting on stage for hours. There was rapture when he arrived. He was a much-loved part of the group, and there were hugs and giggles. The group was pretty large. There were some of Harry's friends, some of James's friends, and some of David's gangs, and they all intertwined. Then it all kicked off. James was furious. It quickly emerged that Harry had told a joke and James definitely did not find it funny. To an outsider, it would have looked like there was a right carry-on taken place. Now, the Mail says Corden is not always known for having the most relaxed sense of humour and that he was on a different level to his inebriated friends. And they say David Beckham, then a close friend of both parties, played peacemaker, reassuring Corden that no harm was meant by the cruel comment. Now, the comment from Harry must have been pretty disgusting because the Daily Mail says they have decided not to share it. But they go on to say there's a real irony to the row because, of course, David Beckham has since fallen out with Prince Harry, all because of Meghan. Of course, she caused lots of difficulties with Victoria, trying to spread drama, trying to suggest that the Beckhams were spreading stories about them. And as the Mail reports, the two men have had little contact as a result. But here's the key line. As for Beckham and Corden, who were once regularly seen together, their friendship is not what it once was. So, P. Dean, a royal YouTube sensation, let me bring you in on this. Of course, there's that historic incident, which I just think shows Prince Harry is a pig. He's a pig of a man. You know,
Mhm.
you don't make a fat joke, which was clearly very rude and involved swear words. You don't do that.
Coincidence? I don't think so. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Gao, Harry versus the Beckhams. Now, this one is wild. Prince Harry and David Beckham were once incredibly close, but insiders say that friendship is now dead, thanks to Meghan Markle. Harry and Meghan accuse the Beckhams of leaking private details.
In that situation, when you're trying to show off to your mates, James Corden maybe was a little bit prickly because everyone else was really drunk, but I think it just shows Harry's a bit of a pig. That's the first thing I would say. But what's more interesting to me here is that it sounds like yet another celebrity friendship is now over. Corden distancing himself from Harry and Meghan.
This is such a wake-up call for Harry. I mean, it should be anyway. He is losing everything. At what point do you decide, okay, I've lost enough friends. I've lost too much being with this woman. I need to make some changes. I mean, I think there should be a lot of self-reflection going on. When all these things start falling down around you and these friendships that you've had, it speaks to the level of how he's really his whole personality has changed, and he's kind of meeting his demise slowly because you see all the things around him falling down. I just think it speaks to what we see with his relationship with Megan and everything else around him, and Megan's life in general. I mean, it makes sense, does it not? It makes complete sense that these things are happening to him.
Indeed. And it really seems like James Corden is sad about losing this friendship too, because after this article in the Daily Mail emerged, he shared a post on Instagram from the author Charlie Maxey, who is one of, he does these beautiful quotations, and Catherine actually used one of the illustrations for her Christmas concert, and it read, "Once in a while, out of the blue, your heart spins and it can feel like you're falling with nothing to hold on to, but you are not the storm and it will pass." And Corden,
Yes, you heard that right. David was so offended he cut ties with the Sussexes, and Harry never apologized. When David flew to Australia for the Invictus Games, Harry ignored him. Can you imagine how awkward that must have been? If you think Harry was wrong, hit that like button right now.
posted that with the annotation on his own Instagram saying, "We all need this from Charlie every once in a while." So I would say there's clearly some sorrow on James Corden's part about the fact that this friendship appears to be over. As I say, they were very close. He was the MC at the wedding, for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's forgiveness. There's time to reevaluate, reflect, and, take some time away and then come back together. I think people can see that sometimes things fall apart, but they're always open to coming back together and reevaluating friendships. I think that's something that would be very difficult for someone like Harry to do because of who he is with. And I think not until he is no longer with Megan will he be able to really have these other relationships again. I think he's going to be closed off from the world, his friends, everyone in the situations that he has known until that part of Harry's life is over, because we do know it's coming to an end. And that's really the only thing I can see happening. It's going to be like this for him until Harry makes a change in his life to be a man and to stand up for the things that you believe in, your values, because he's been just torn down so much by his spouse. And that's just what his life is going to be until he makes this change that is coming. That's what I see. And I think he needs to make something, uh, change something, because at this rate, it's becoming pretty pathetic. I think also with his mental illness that he's, had, how does he deal with all of these frustrations and all of these things crumbling around him? How do you handle it? Because that's something we have to remember. Harry has had issues around his mental health with the passing of his mother. I mean, these are like deaths.
Meghan's role in the drama. What's the common thread? Harry's friendships fell apart after Meghan came into the picture. James Corden, the Beckhams, or old royal connections, every time there's tension, Meghan is involved. Some say Harry's becoming more private, but when all your friends disappear, something's not right. Subscribe, because this royal drama is far from over.
To him, I think, because these are friendships that you once had. They're not like they used to be. I think he would still have these friendships if it weren't for his wife. I mean, he's made some silly mistakes. He's done some things that have, been wrong. But I think people found it in them to try to heal things, to make things better. Because Harry seems like the kind of person, he can recognize something that maybe he has done wrong and ask for forgiveness or just try to chalk it up to whatever and to just get on with life. But I think there's something fundamentally that has changed with Harry that has made him this wall, this block that can't really grow further, become better, let others in until he releases that monkey on his back. That's what it is. He's got something that he needs to overcome before he can move on in anything else in these relationships. It just makes a lot of sense that this would happen to him now. That's how I see it.
Yeah, no, indeed. But it's very telling, isn't it, that he's lost both Corden and Beckham now. And it just feels laughable, Pete. I mean, I was really involved in this story at the time when I was at The Sun. But it just seems completely laughable that Harry and Meghan accused David and Victoria Beckham of leaking stories to the media when they are the biggest leakers ever. I mean, it just shows you they're on another planet.
But Meghan did that. Meghan, we know Meghan, she told Harry,
But Harry in Australia didn't make amends, didn't go and see David, made it clear that he was siding with his wife. There was an opportunity there. Beckham still travelled to Australia for the Invictus Games, and Harry chose to give him the cold shoulder. And what a mistake that was, because, of course, David is now completely aligned with King Charles and Prince William and the British royal family, and is a real patriot, of course, lined up, unlike Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby, lined up with ordinary folk for 12 hours to see the Queen line in state. But look, I want to speak about this other issue, P. Dina, which is really interesting. Harry coming to the UK for what is a show trial.
The bigger picture. Is Harry isolated? Harry seems more isolated than ever. He's lost his military titles, his royal status, and even his celebrity friends. Can he rebuild those connections? Or is it already too late? Well, call to action. Prince Harry's shocking fallouts with James Corden and the Beckhams. Was it Meghan's fault or Harry's own mistakes? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Hit like and subscribe for more royal updates. Stay tuned and stay curious.